What's up, guys? I'm sorry I kept you waiting in the dark. As you know, we've had some big life changes lately, and Tony and I thought no better way to discuss all that than right here with you. And so here goes it.
No, go ahead.
Where do we begin, babe?
Well, I think we have to begin at the beginning of the next chapter.
Fair. As a lot of you guys know, 10 days ago now, I got the call. My contract was not being renewed with the WWE. I was in Washington, D.C. for a cheer tournament with our little one. I was actually running on the treadmill working out with our older one, Giovanna, and I got a phone call. We were in the middle of negotiations, and so I thought the phone call was going to be the middle ground that we met on, an agreement, a contract, and it was, we are not renewing your contract. So for complete transparency, which this is really the first time I'm saying this, I was shocked. We were both shocked, I think.
Yes. And we weren't together, and she calls me and goes, they're not renewing my contract while I was at practice with the little one for cheer.
What did you think when I called you? Did you think I was messing with you?
No, I had a drop in my stomach, and I was like, what? Because this whole time you were unsure of, what was going to be next.
Yeah, it was
like
weird time.
Want to be next, and all these questions come up, and meanwhile I was the one the entire time saying, are you crazy? You're going to be there forever. Just that morning, actually, we were having talk about babies, and that's a topic for another day, but it was, we didn't want to do it while you were traveling, and I was like, well, I guess it's never happening because you are going to be there forever.
Yeah. Crazy. And there's so many things, there's so many different factors. There's so many things to lead us to the mindsets we were in leading up to the phone call. The fact that I'd been there for 10 years, the fact that I had a great relationship with almost everybody from backstage to talent to across the board. And I everyone was like family there. I mean, you work somewhere for 10 years consecutively. You become like a family. So it was unexpected. Nonetheless, in typical Daria fashion, the first thing I did was
skip a beat.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird because it's like a blessing in disguise, because you literally went right into action of like, oh my God, there's so many things I wanted to do but couldn't because my hands were tied.
Right.
And you just were like, all right, let's go on to.
Well, there's so many things to that. Okay, first and foremost, I had the greatest 10 years of my life. So grateful. The stories on the road, the traveling, the wrestling, the performing. Like, I lived out dreams that I could have never imagined. I did imagine them. I think I manifested them as a child, but never could have even dreamt something so incredible. So grateful to the WWE. And at the end of the day, it's a business. And I think business minded. And so for whatever the reason is, I don't know the reason. And I could sit here and try to come up with one or guess or be like, oh, it was definitely that, or it was because I said that or did that. But you know better than anyone, like, I put 150% effort in the entire 10 years. But most importantly, the last 3. I went down to the Performance Center on my own time, moved there for 2 months to train to get the rust off.
Because just earlier this past year, you moved down there for 4 months to train when you were healed.
To get my ACL better, yeah. So anyway, 110%, we did everything. And so it was such a feeling of like, when I got the call, he said the words, at first it was shock. At first it was like, whoa. But then it was almost like instantaneously, my trust in the universe allowed me to just be at peace with it instantly, because you can't fight fate. Like, that chapter was meant to close, and all these new beautiful blessings were meant to come, and we'll talk about it in a minute. But like, just the way things happen, like, is there anything more like serendipitous? Like, it happened for a reason. So how could you be mad at that? How could you be upset or frustrated or even wonder what if? Like, life's too short. I have so many dreams, so many things I want to do, and I still love everybody there. And I have a great, like, my memory from that place is nothing but positive, and I want to keep it that way. But also I respect that the universe is like, hey, that chapter's closed right now, forever, whatever, it doesn't matter. But like, on to the next, let's go. I have 2 kids and a wife to take care of. We have a family. Like, we got to keep going.
Yeah.
And so I think that just allowed me to have like instant peace. It was like, it's all good.
But like, were you surprised?
I was shocked by the phone call. What are the reasons you think we weren't surprised? Like the part of us that kind of thought it might have been coming.
So I think that it's twofold here. I think when you look at the bigger picture of your life, I think that your dream as a 12-year-old kid was not to be a wrestler.
Correct.
And I think that what your dream was, you being a wrestler with them, was holding you back.
Interesting.
So I think that, I mean, because I've seen what your life has been like the last 4 months, like with auditions and other opportunities coming your way. And like, it was like the universe was setting you up, because I think that if you didn't have the last 4 months that you had, with being so busy, I mean, you're traveling, you're landing on a Tuesday morning, you're filming auditions that are due by noon, then you're flying back out the next day for an appearance that is not WWE related or whatever. And I saw like life was just really hectic.
Yeah.
And it's like at some point something has to break. And I know that that wasn't your dream to be a wrestler. And to be fair, like, I think what it does to your body, and it makes me nervous, and, you know, just like the lifestyle with the traveling, and it's a hard life to keep up with. And I think one of those two things had to break. So if one had to break, I'm happy it was wrestling, because now you can do what your dream was as that 12-year-old kid. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Fair.
And I think that you're such an entrepreneur, and you're such like a go-getter, and like you know, like you have so much motivation, and there was nothing to do with that motivation, because it really had nothing to do with you. You could just show up on, you know, Monday night for the match that they tell you and do the best that you can. But besides that, you have no control over anything.
Right.
You know, you're just like their puppet, you know. So I forgot what your question was. Was I surprised?
Yeah.
Yes, I was very surprised.
Yeah.
I was totally surprised, because I feel like, with all of that being said, and I think it is like such a good blessing, and like so many more exciting things than that are about to happen. But I was very surprised, because I'm like, oh my God, you would have been, if they would have given you the reins to be like the greatest heel there ever was. So I feel like that's not fair. I'm like, no, she's not done. Like,
right.
Like, you guys like didn't use her. You didn't use her for what she was like the greatest at. So like that part, yeah, shocked me. I'm like, are you guys crazy? You know, like part of me just looks at it like, you were so good. And when you were given an opportunity, like, are they crazy? So yes, I was surprised by that.
Thanks, babe.
And you're just such a good like role model. You're such a good spokesperson for the company. You're like such a good look, a good athlete. Like, you know, I don't know. I felt like you checked all the boxes of what a wrestler has to be. It's a performer. It's an athlete. Talk on the mic, the looks, like you check every one of those boxes. So yes, I was very shocked.
Yeah, it was interesting. And I haven't even thought any of this out. And like, and that's another thing. This is still so like new. So I'm sure my feelings and emotions about this will evolve. But like, I didn't think about any of that. It was just like, okay, like you said, did I grow up wanting to be a wrestler? No. But did I fall in love with the business in the meantime? Absolutely. I fell in love with what I was doing. It was crazy how it happened, because I wanted to be an actress. The thing Tony keeps referring to I wanted to do since I was 12 years old was act. My mom took me to my first acting class when I was like maybe 13. It was an hour away from my house. She would drive me there. She'd sit there with me for 4 hours and watch me do monologue and scene study. So yeah, that was my first dream. The way that people fall in love with music, and use music as their vice when they're depressed or sad or happy is the same thing I did with television and film. I was having a hard time in school in my adolescent years, and I would come home, lock myself in my basement, and binge watch One Tree Hill with my neighbor. And that allowed me to escape the world and forget about literally everything that was going on. And it was then that I fell in love with acting. I was like, wow, you can escape reality. You can make people feel so strongly one way or another. Similar to wrestling, but that was my dream. And the irony of it all is that the week they didn't renew my contract, I booked my first big film project.
How booked before you got this phone call?
Right.
It's like
3 days.
The universe was literally
3 days before I got the phone call. I got the call from my manager that I booked this role that I had auditioned for. How weird is the universe? What a beautiful thing. Like, what is there to be mad about? I see people leave and they say bad things about the company, or they talk crap, or they say whatever they say, and I cannot relate. I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, I cannot relate. I loved every minute of it. I love everybody there. I love everything I got to do, everything I did, experienced. But that was a chapter, and it was a decade long. A decade. Travel, wrestle, eat, sleep, repeat. And it was fun. But now I have no choice but to listen to the universe and the universal signs. Like, hey, Dee, that was good, but here's what's next. And
that's like the smallest glimmer of what's next. What they already have lined up for you.
Yeah.
The universe, by the way. But
yeah. It's exciting. I'm excited. We have a lot of things coming up.
Yeah, we do.